Hope struggles as Thomas looks to the past. At Forrester Creations, Hope will be visibly shaken as Monday's episode begins. Having just delivered the heartbreaking news to Deke that his contract won't be renewed, Hope is left feeling defeated, guilty, and frustrated over how little power she truly has over her own fashion line. That emotional weight sets the stage for an uncomfortable but important conversation with Thomas. Thomas will sense Hope's low mood and try to bridge the gap by reminding her of the past, specifically the time when they worked closely together and found creative success. He'll admit that he still thinks about those days and how productive and inspired they were as a team. More importantly, Thomas will make it clear that he wants that dynamic back. Hope, however, won't be immediately receptive. Given everything they've been through, including Thomas's past obsession and manipulation, the idea of returning to that kind of partnership raises red flags. While Thomas frames his comments around creativity and collaboration, Hope may feel the need to shut down any possibility of blurred lines. To make her stance clear, Hope will likely emphasize her current reality. She is happily remarried to Liam Spencer and committed to keeping her personal and professional lives separate. Thomas, sensing her hesitation, may quickly reassure Hope that he respects her marriage and has no intention of stirring up trouble. He could insist that his interest is purely professional and that his sole focus is making Hope for the future as successful as possible. Even so, the tension will linger. Hope's powerlessness hits home. Despite Thomas's reassurances, Hope won't be able to shake her resentment over how things unfolded with Deke. Watching her brother get cast aside so abruptly will leave her wishing she had more authority over her own line. Unfortunately, the reality is clear. Steffi Forrester Finnegan and Ridge Forrester have the final say, and Hope is left to live with the consequences of their decision. That lack of control may deepen Hope's unease about working with Thomas again, especially as she tries to reconcile her values with the corporate reality at Forrester Creations. Deke turns to family for support. Meanwhile, Deke will be dealing with the emotional fallout of losing his job. Although he put on a brave face for Hope and insisted he'd never give up on his dreams, the loss will hit harder once he's alone. Seeking comfort, Deke is expected to head to Il Giardano, where he can lean on the one person he knows will always have his back, his father, Deacon Sharp. When Deke fills Deacon in on the Forresters cutting him loose, Deacon will likely be furious on his son's behalf. Still, that anger will quickly give way to compassion as Deacon shifts into full-on dad mode. He'll remind Deke of his talent, his resilience, and the fact that one setback doesn't define a career. For Deke, that reassurance will be desperately needed. Remy's unexpected encounter changes everything. Just when Deke thinks the day can't get more complicated, Remy Price will unexpectedly appear, and the timing couldn't be more charged. Remy may overhear Deke discussing his firing or sense that something is wrong, leaving him visibly unsettled. Knowing how much Deke wants to succeed in fashion, Remy will feel compelled to step in and offer comfort of his own. This moment could be pivotal. Will Deke welcome Remy's support, or will he push him away after everything they've been through? Remy, who has been holding out hope for a reunion, may see this as his chance to reconnect and remind Deke that he doesn't have to face this setback alone. Whether that comfort comes across as genuine concern or something more complicated remains to be seen. A brighter future on the horizon. While Monday's episode is heavy on heartbreak and tension, spoilers hint that Deke's story is far from over. In fact, his future may soon take a turn for the better, thanks to Katie Spencer's inevitable job offer, which could open an entirely new chapter for him, one outside the shadow of Forrester Creations. For now, though, Deke must decide who he can trust and which path he's willing to take as he rebuilds his confidence and his career. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers promise an episode filled with emotional reckonings, uneasy alliances, and the first steps towards new beginnings. Be sure to tune in Monday, December 22nd to see whether Hope and Thomas can find a workable professional balance and whether Remy finally gets the second chance he's been hoping for.
And the Beautiful spoilers for Monday, December 22nd tease emotional tension at Forrester Creations as Thomas Forrester reconnects with Hope Logan Spencer, while Zeke Sharp faces an unexpected run-in with Remy Price following his firing. At Forrester, Hope will be struggling after having to break the painful news to Zeke that he's been let go. Between her guilt over that decision and her complicated past with Thomas, Monday's episode is bound to be loaded with tension. Still, Thomas will focus on the positive, reminiscing about how well he and Hope worked together in the past. Thomas will admit that he often thinks about their creative partnership and insist he'd like to return to that dynamic. Hope, however, won't appear fully convinced. Given their history, she may feel compelled to set clear professional boundaries, especially to ensure business doesn't blur into anything personal again. To shut down any possible misunderstandings, Hope may emphasize that she's happily remarried to Liam Spencer. Thomas, for his part, will likely reassure her that he respects her marriage and has no intention of stirring up trouble. He may insist his only goal is to make Hope for the future as successful as possible. Even so, Hope won't be able to shake her frustration over how Zeke was pushed aside. She'll wish she had more authority over decisions involving her line, but the reality is that Steffi Forrester Finnegan and Ridge Forrester ultimately hold the power. Meanwhile, Zeke will be reeling from the loss of his job. Though he promised Hope he wouldn't give up on his dreams, the rejection will hit hard. Seeking comfort, Zeke may head to Il Giardino to tell Deacon Sharp about the Forresters cutting him loose. Deacon will no doubt be furious on his son's behalf, but he'll quickly slip into supportive dad mode to lift Zeke's spirits. That's when things get interesting. Remy Price is expected to show up looking unsettled, and he may overhear that Zeke has been fired. Knowing how much Zeke wants a career in fashion, Remy could step in to offer comfort of his own. The big question, will Zeke accept Remy's support or push him away? Remy is clearly hoping for a reunion, and this vulnerable moment could give him the opening he's been waiting for. According to Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Zeke's future may start looking much brighter soon, especially with Katie Spencer poised to make him an inevitable job offer. Stay tuned, this storyline is just getting started.